3 games remaining, and kind of what's your goals? I mean, I know one of them is to beat Army, obviously like to win all, but I mean, do you kind of have, what do you tell the team at this point?
Well, we start off with Tulsa, and so our thing is it's senior day. I want to send our seniors out the right way. Obviously, we want to win the rest of our games, but right now we want to win this one at home for the last time. Their seniors, it's always a big day for us with our seniors. We want to make sure that their last 2 memories here are, their football, winning, and also when they come back to graduate in May.
Obviously, we talked about you've faced the real meat grinder of a schedule here with ranked teams and teams that have. I mean, you're now facing a team that's more like you, that has some struggles, similar record. I mean, do you feel that almost in a way this is a must-win? You've got to beat a team like Tulsa.
I mean, every game is a must-win. You know what I mean, Wags? But we got to get this one. We just talk to our guys. Don't be confused by their record. I mean, they play Texas tough. They play a lot of teams. I mean, they've been
4 games by touchdown.
Yeah, I mean, they're a really good football team. And again, I remember Scott and I were talking about watching them play, or before we went somewhere, watching them play on TV, and they're playing Temple, and they should have won that game.
Right, and they lost to South Florida by a point. Right.
And we know how good Temple is.
Right.
I mean, this is a good football team. The ball hasn't bounced away similar to us, but like we say every week, this is football. You keep score. It's not horseshoes. It doesn't matter coming close. You got to win. So, both of us are desperate for a win.
If you were able to win your last 3 games, I know it doesn't give you a winning season or a bowl, but I think that would be important going into the all season. I think it would be something to build off, wouldn't you feel?
Definitely. I mean, but again, we got to get this one first. But
right.
You want to win all your games. We want to finish off on a strong note. But it starts with this week.
Right. Sean Williams, it looked like he practiced today.
He did practice today.
Right. That's got to be encouraging because you didn't know it didn't look so good on game day. But if that's
it's been kind of the way our season's gone. We put in a new defense to
kind of highlighted his skills.
Kind of highlight his skills, and he gets hurt in the first quarter. But what can you do? He just pressed forward. But he looked good today.
Right. Well, and on that note, I mean, after reviewing the film, do you think that 3-3-5 look will be something you may pull out again, or?
Well, let me see. I mean, pretty much everybody in the Big 12 uses it. I mean, a lot of people there see a lot of spread teams. I mean, use it. It depends. There's some good and bad. When you do something new for the first time, there's always something that comes up during the game. And if it's not really your package, so you got to try to fix it. And, those are always things that come up. But I was encouraged by it. There's some good and some bad. Obviously, we lost. But, there's some good things that came from it.
Paul Jarvis and Falkman also came off the field on Saturday. How do you feel about them?
Falkman questionable and Jarvis probable.
Okay. One of the things that we hadn't talked about is the passing game. Your rushing numbers are actually not too different than what they normally have. The one thing that's definitely been missing this year, you always hit some downfield passes, and those are plays that set up touchdowns, sometimes result in touchdowns, and they haven't quite been there. Do you think that's kind of been part of the issue with the offense?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's been a lot of stuff, but I think one thing, people have played back on us, and we haven't been able to execute.
Right.
So, people aren't feeling like they normally feel, run support. They're trying to just stay back and see if we can execute, and we haven't been good enough to do that. A big part of it, we haven't been able to execute on a consistent basis. We're always hit or miss, or a drive here, a drive there. I mean, Saturday, that's been a microcosm of our season.
Right. Well, and you make a good point. You've got to force them to suck up to help on the run. And so if you're not consistently moving the ball at the run, they're not going to send the safeties, I guess.
And normally we've been good enough to execute down the field that if you stayed back, we're going to score. You know what I mean? That's where you'd get 12 or 10-play drives and end up scoring, but we haven't been able to sustain it. So people are like, well, they're not executing, force them to beat us, and we haven't been able to do it.
Right. Well, did you see some, after you reviewed the film, did you feel there was some positive signs about moving them? Because the first time that you guys really had some long drives, 10 and 11-play drives, first time in a while.
Well, I think people kind of caught up with the Cincinnati game, and the Cincinnati game became our whole season. You know what I mean? But like we scored 22 against the Irish.
Right, in the second half, right.
Michigan scored 17 in the whole game.
Right.
Northwestern scored 21 in the whole game. You know what I mean? So, and we rushed almost 300 yards. It hasn't like we've been inept the whole, you know what I mean? But I think everybody got encapsulated that the Cincinnati game was
going scoreless. And
no, it's just we've just been bits and parts. We scored 30-something against Houston. We moved the ball against Temple. We're just so inconsistent. That's been the issue.
You have to put two halves together.
If
you played two halves against, like you did against the one half of Notre Dame, you've been good. If you've been able to execute and score in the first half against Central Florida like you did in the second half,
it's more than halves. You've got to put drives together. You know, that's where we're just like Saturday. Like I said, to me, Saturday was perfect. Us move the ball. We get somebody didn't hear the call, and we didn't go the right way. So on third down, we didn't score. Then we obviously had a center QB exchange. We had fumble, but we had some missed assignments. But once we stopped doing that self-inflicted stuff, we could move the ball. And again, this is against the number 10 team in the country. So that was our message, that we can, when we do what we're supposed to, we can move the ball against anybody, move the ball against the Irish, move the ball against them. But when we don't do it right, we can't move the ball against anybody.
Right.
Air Force, Cincinnati, you get those kind of games. And so we're just very, very inconsistent. But I'm encouraged because I saw some stuff in the second half in bits and parts in the first half of last week. So hopefully we can build off.
After reviewing the film, did you feel there were some real positives about what happened offensively?
There's a lot of positives. I mean, we played well in the second half. And just like, much of the season, we haven't put two halves together.
Right.
Obviously, first half we had, some good drives going and two turnovers, and again, two turnovers and then one jump off sides down on maybe the 5-yard line, backed us up, and getting the field goal out of it. So, again, those are points that you could have put on the board. Put pressure on them. Obviously, ball possession, time of possession was going in our favor. So, again, our plan, in the second half worked for what we needed to do to win the game, but first half we didn't get it done.
Do you think it's a case of maybe Zach finally settling in as the quarterback? I mean, he is kind of getting back to running the full offense, and the Cincinnati game there's so fits and starts that he didn't have a lot of rhythm. But do you think maybe?
It's just a matter of taking care of the football. I mean, I don't think we coach ball security every single day. As far as keep the ball high and tight and always being ball conscious when you go in traffic to keep two hands on it, But again, it's always the guy got a lucky hand, and knocked it out. And then the second most was just a QB center exchange, So again, those things that we work on every single day, and again, just happened at a bad time, And I don't think it has anything to do with anything else. Just didn't get it done.
So in defense of Zach, when the center QB exchange, is that always the quarterback's fault?
No, it's both of them.
It's both, right. They didn't execute.
Yeah, both guys get a double minus for that. It's never on the quarterback. It's a QB center exchange. So it's on both those guys.
Right. I was just talking to Coach Niumatalolo about the passing game. The one thing that your rushing numbers in the grand scheme of things are not all that different. You're third in the country, but the passing, usually you guys are able to hit those long plays down the field, and they set up touchdowns or they are touchdowns, and it hasn't happened as much this year.
Exactly.
Can you talk about that?
Because people are not giving. People are coming into the game saying, "Hey, let's make these guys earn it. Let's not give them anything cheap." We can't make people come up and support the run. We got to be good running the football. But they're keeping people back and making us earn every yard, making us drive the football. And again, we've done it in spurts, but for the most part, people are being smart about secondary play. Again, trying to play from the line of scrimmage, keep their guys back, and basically recognize then they come support. But no one's flying up, giving up freebies. So again, we have to earn what we get. Earn what we get. Play action passes have been very few this year because people just playing off of us now, make us march the football down the football field.
Right, because usually the way you wait for the perfect opportunity,
Exactly.
You watch when those safeties start creeping up to support the run, and then you call it right. But that's just it's not there.
No, again, teams are saying, hey, let's not give up anything cheap.
Right.
Everyone adjusts, over the years to the offense, and how they want to play it. But again, the big thing this year is a lot of people are saying, hey, we're not going to give any cheap touchdowns. We're going to stay back, make them drive the football, and if they get their 10, 20 play drive, whatever, so be it. But we're not giving anything cheap.
Right. One of the other staples of the offense is that wheel route. Is the same thing with that? The wheel route is not as effective?
The same thing. The wheel route, again, teams are being really smart about just stand back and not getting beat on play action.
Right. And then so to alter the passing game, can you do more short intermediate stuff, or is that not really there either?
I mean, there's things that we can do, but again, we always want to throw on our terms, and if we can run the football and be effective, we're going to run the football. You know, we're not going to throw the football just to be throwing it. Again, if people are staying back and not give up anything cheap, we're going to just be who we are. We're going to possess the football. And again, the biggest thing for us has been we just not been able to drive the football consistently. You know, we'll take what defense gives us. Say, well, let's drive the football. We're going to drive it because it's in our favor. We eat up the clock and we score. The thing that's been a part for us this year has been hard is that we've been driving the football, but again, we've a turnover or a misassignment or something like that just been killing our drives.
But at the same time, there have been some opportunities when pass plays were there and you all just didn't connect. It was either throws a little over or like the other day, Zach had Malcolm wide open in the flat and he seemed like he was predetermined that he wanted to go to the end zone, and he ignored the fact that Malcolm was right in front of him. That would have been a touchdown.
Yeah, again, you know, the route was set up for a backside drag. You know, you should have checked the guy in the front. I mean, again, we've always, you know, put routes in, you know, for him out of the first. Like now, you shouldn't have thrown the football because the guy was double covered. You know,
Right.
I gave him a knucklehead grade for that. You know, but again, other than that. Again, we're just trying to be smart. He's trying to play smart. As far as the passing game goes, you know, we can try to throw intermediate or shorter routes. It's just a matter of, again, of what the defense gives us. But at the same time, you know, we're going to try to drive the football. We're going to try to run it, you know, eat up the clock. And again, if that's what they give us, we're going to take it.
Right. And last but not least, I was going to talk to you about what next year's quarterback situation, obviously with Garrett and Zach are graduating. Right. What do you see? I mean, is Dalen the most likely? He's the guy that's the only other guy over here.
Well, no, it's going to be a very important spring for us. You know, to look at that, to address that. Obviously, you know, Dalen, you know, towards the end of last spring had a pretty good spring. You know, but again, unfortunately for him, you know, we have two seniors, you know, who've been counting on this year. You know, to play for us, that have been playing for us, you know, so he hasn't got a lot of the reps that he normally would get in a season like this. Right. But next spring will be a very important spring for him. You know, we got some young freshmen, you know, that also going to take a look at, and also, you know, Evan Falkman, we might move him back to quarterback as well. You know, from again, he's a good athlete, can run. You know, so
tough kid.
Again, it's going to be an important spring for us. You know, and again, but as always, my man, we'll grind it out, and I'll have a guy ready.
About Dalen, I mean, I don't think a lot of us. I watch him. He throws the ball nice. I don't know anything about his option abilities. Have you seen enough of him run an option to have a feel for how he does it?
The key thing that I always look for when a kid hasn't run an option and when he starts running it is, does he look comfortable doing it? And he looks very comfortable doing it.
And he's a big, strong kid.
Big kid, you know, big body on him, very strong kid, great arm, but he looks comfortable doing it, and that's always a key. You know, so again, just more reps that he'll get. You know, again, you know, during the rest of the season, we'll get him reps, but also when we get in spring, it's going to be a lot of reps. I'm sure we'll have a lot of live reps, a lot of getting after it, and again, hopefully he'll come out of spring ready to play.
Well, I've heard some good things about a couple guys at the prep school, but I'm guessing that you would prefer to have someone who's been here and had some experience.
Well, you do, but at the same time, you know, Keenan came in and ended up starting for us. You know, so again, we have two good players up there. We have four quarterbacks up there that are really good players. You know, any guy can come in, and who knows? Anything can happen.
All right, senior day. I mean, just kind of talk about what it means, and you know, last time on Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium field.
I guess it hasn't hit me yet, just because we're obviously only Tuesday right now, and I still think we have a lot of football left. I would like to think we still got a lot of football left, but I don't know. It hasn't hit me yet. I guess it'll really hit me when I got to drag my mom and dad off the field and tell them, hey, we got to get back to the game now. Stop crying.
Right.
But you know, it's been a long run. Obviously, I wish we would have ended a little differently, but you know, I wouldn't have asked for a different way. And especially with the seniors that I'm with, they're probably the best group of guys I've ever met in my life. So I'm definitely happy to have them by my side.
You were at the prep school, right?
Yeah, I was.
Can you think about, there's some guys that you were at prep school that are not around, some guys that you showed up here that are not around.
Yeah.
Can you talk about it? It's been attrition, and it's not for everybody, and sometimes things don't work out, and it's hard to get to the finish line.
Yeah, no, it definitely is it's a long run, as we call it. And we still keep in touch with the guys that left. I know we actually saw one last week in Florida.
Yeah, McCray.
Which was really nice.
He would have been in your class?
Yeah, he would have. But, you know, it isn't for everybody. I know I didn't think it was for me. The only reason I'm still here is because of the guys that are in my class who kept me around, and my parents, you know, keeping me straight forward. But, you know, it's not for everybody. And I would rather people, you know, get out before they make a bad decision on staying in and being miserable for the rest of their life than actually enjoying what they do.
Right. So I was going through the list, and you know, the 34 seniors, and there's a large number of guys that are not playing. Some of these guys are probably on scout team. Do you kind of give them a pat on the back for sticking it out, even though They may not be playing.
Oh yeah, no, I look up to them more than anybody else on this team, especially just the hard work and the commitment they've put towards this team. Because most of the guys that are on the scout team right now are, hard-nosed guys. Buck Elliott, Cameron Dudek, guys that have really just been there from the start, putting in the hard work. Never really got their name, up in lights. Never got the newspaper article about them.
Mm-hmm.
So I know I definitely trying to think of the word right now. Love those guys for what they do, and
Respect.
Kudos to them for staying around, because it is tough, just coming out to practice every day, and then on Saturday it's it's not you.
Right.
But yeah, I definitely respect them way more than anybody else on this team.
So how important is it to get this win on Saturday? I mean, beyond the fact you got the losing streak, but you're playing a team that is struggling as well. I mean, after beating your head against the wall against all these ranked teams, outstanding teams, you got a chance here against a team that's in a similar situation as you. I mean, it almost feels like a must-win.
No, it's. I don't want to say it's a must-win, because they're a good team. Just like everybody we faced, they're all good teams. And sadly, each game, I think, for the most part, we've been in them, or at least we started off slow and we ended up really good, but it wasn't enough for the teams we faced. It is needed just for this program. I know, because we're hanging in there. The guys still come out every day giving it their all, which I love, because some days, like today, I had a hard time coming out. It's cold, started raining. I was like, come on now. I don't really want to. But when I saw the young guys coming out here, preparing, getting ready, I was like, all right, we got some ball to go. So it was good, though, and it means a lot to this program, and definitely the guys that are on the scout team who haven't had that limelight, to definitely give them that high hope of getting a win.
And say it again, what it means to you?
It's the last time in the stadium. Been here a while. It's going to be the last one as seniors. It's going to be the last thing we remember being in the stadium. So we just want to end it on the right note, honestly.
Is it hard to believe you didn't go to the prep school, right?
No, sir.
Think back 4 years ago. Is it hard to believe that you're here now? I mean, some people say it goes by fast, some say it goes by slow, or it depends on what day it is.
I mean, honestly, yeah, it depends on what day it is, because we have some really long days. But I mean, I can remember everything like it was yesterday, but it's not like it necessarily went by too fast. So like it was a fulfilling experience, honestly.
Can you remember your first game that you ever played in Navy Marine Corps?
I can.
What?
Colgate, number 6. I started at corner because of some funny situations out there.
Mm-hmm. You were a freshman?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Got an opportunity. It was a great experience, and been just riding the wave ever since.
So obviously, I was talking to Garge about there's 34 seniors. Not all of them get to play. There's a large number of these seniors who are scout team or reserves, not on the depth chart. Can you talk about the respect you have for them coming out here? Still, they could have easily hung it up and said it's not worth doing anymore.
Our seniors are very tough, very hard-nosed group. So all that just speaks to their fortitude, and then it makes me more grateful to be around those guys and see their attitudes and how they approach everything every day, and how they work. I feel like it's really kept me in check all 4 years. I've held the highest respect for my peers, and it's nothing but reciprocated. So it's very humbling to see them do that every day for real.
And do they help the team? I mean, having seniors is important, and whether they're playing or not, they're still seniors who've been in the program and have a lot of knowledge to impart. I mean, does that help even if they're not playing a lot?
Of course, because now you have your influence spread out all over the team, and when guys are in different places and can set an example from anywhere on the team, it's easy for the young guys to follow and buy in and get with the program.
So how important is it to get a win on Saturday?
I mean, it's the utmost importance is number one priority. We're not focusing on anything else, just trying to focus on our preparation and take it one day at a time, just like every week.
And so how many family members will you have there?
I'll have just my mom and my dad there.
Mm-hmm.
When we take our nice photo, it's going to be for them.
Right. I hadn't had a chance to ask you, but you got a pretty unique honor, this Defender of the Year award. You're going to be honored after the season. It seemed pretty cool. I was reading the press release again today, and it's big deal. All the service academies are eligible. Can you talk about that honor?
I mean, I feel like it speaks to the influence of my family, and how I was raised, and with everybody really involved in it coming up. Just not even my dad or my grandfather, my mom, my grandmother, but just everybody that crossed paths with me that influenced me, and especially my boys here who nurtured me to be in this position. So I'm really just thankful for all the people that I came across, and I'm glad that I get the recognition for it because it goes to them.
And you're putting the finishing touches on a 10-page speech?
I kind of like winging it, so we'll just roll with that. But yeah, that's fine right there.